Hey, welcome back, everybody, to Sword to Recovery's podcast. Grateful to be here with all of you this beautiful Friday afternoon. My name is Scott Curry. I am the program manager of Sword to Recovery, and I will be your host once again. Today, I am accompanied with Kathleen Katt. She will introduce herself shortly. Today's topic is recovery housing, what it looks like, who's it for, and why it could benefit the members of our community. Just want to remind everyone that this is a safe space, that we will be talking about recovery and all that it entails, and just giving you resources, a place to learn more about what's available to you and your loved ones. So sit back, relax, and hopefully we give you some great information about Oxford House. So I'm going to introduce Kathleen Katt.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much, Scott, for having me on today. Spreading awareness is so important, and having a platform like this is really wonderful. I'm really happy to be here talking about Oxford House. I love the Stigma Busters program, and or the name of it. I have spent years working at the Rockland Council on Alcoholism and Other Drug Dependence, doing just that, raising awareness, reducing stigma. And I've seen the value of sharing our stories and organizing. I was able to, start a recovery center there and build recovery support services. So again, thank you so much for having me. I am now a Special Projects Director with Oxford House Incorporated. And what makes me eligible to work for Oxford House is that I am also an alumni of Oxford House, Brentwood, North Carolina. My pathway to recovery started in Oxford House, and way back in January 2014. And recovery has, afforded me the opportunity to work with individuals and families in need of solutions and services. So again, really excited to be here with you today. I certainly know the value of peer supports in Rockland, starting Friends of Recovery Rockland, opening the center, and peer supports there are now working with local police departments in an emergency room. So I'm really excited to see the workforce, building and being implemented as interventions in all these different areas that not so long ago we were not in. I'm sure you're well aware of that, right, Scott?
Yeah, we are making strides in multiple communities across the region, across the state, and even really the nation on implementing peer services in all different types of settings, whether it's a residential setting like Oxford House, or in hospitals, in the EDs, and clinical settings in MOUD and MAT practices. The peer service and peer support really makes a difference, advocating for individuals that have had difficulties and barriers accessing resources and services that they see and that they find, once again, as person-centered approaches, where in the past people were forced, you have to do this, you have to do this. But what if that doesn't work for that person? So implementing peer services, along with Kathleen, Oxford House, and the tremendous strides that they've made across the nation is wonderful.
Yeah, I mean, that certainly speaks to my story, and how I got to Oxford was that I didn't have that many options. I kept returning to use after being in an environment that was not conducive to recovery. And what was offered to me back in 2001 in Rockland County, where I lived, was also, I felt, not conducive to recovery. So I found my recovery, like I said, in Oxford in North Carolina. And, I'm just so grateful for that. So it has always been a need of the community to have that supportive housing. And currently in Rockland County, I'll talk specifically from that point of view, is that there are currently 2 male recovery houses, one being a halfway house and one being a house that's managed, that has a manager. And there's only one women's house. We know that, people need support, a supportive environment for recovery. And oftentimes because of the lack of services or housing opportunities or options, people return back to the same place where they left. And, shortly thereafter, often, people return to use. So,
Kathleen, how long can someone live in an Oxford house?
as long as they want.
Wow.
So that's kind of different from other models. I just wanted to back up and let you know that Oxford is peer run. So we just talked about, the value of peer services and the value of a peer run house is what we're talking about today. A recovering individual can live in an Oxford house for as long as, he or she does not drink alcohol, does not use drugs, pays their equal share of expenses, and continues to practice a program of recovery, whatever that is to that individual. Is not disruptive, et cetera. The average length of stay is, 18 months to 2 years. And that seems to be proven most effective.
So what do you feel is the ideal number of individuals to assure that the house is well ran and has a self-supported recovery?
So usually what they say is that there about 8 people is a good number to have in the house. The houses that are rented are, beautiful houses in nice neighborhoods, and they're usually, 4 bedrooms plus. So it's important for people to have, the option of a 2 bedroom or a 1 bedroom. So the more people that are in the house, the more supported it is,
Right.
which is why houses need to be big.
Yeah.
And, most importantly, the rent has to be paid. So that helps with that.
And so, some people that are listening may wonder, abstinence is not the only pathway to recovery anymore, but in an Oxford setting or in a recovery house setting, being abstinent from alcohol or drugs is a requirement. So how much abstinent time is needed for an individual to be accepted into the house?
So there's no ideal number. However, individuals should be stable when they are entering a house. Ideally, it's nice when people come directly from treatment. But if somebody comes with a strong desire to find recovery, the house can then support them and lead them to treatment, and any services in the area. The individuals in the house can lead them to that.
And with such a great support system inside a home for an individual that just left a treatment facility that, may be 28 or 14 to 28 days, away from using substances, what do you find, or what have you seen as the success rate for the residents?
So there has been a number of studies around the Oxford House model. The Oxford House model is actually an evidence-based model through NREP, the National Registry for Evidence-Based Practices, and has been studied by DePaul University. Again, as I mentioned before, the study in DePaul University indicates that people who've completed a year of residency maintain sobriety at a rate of 80%. And that certainly includes me. my stay in an Oxford house was 18 months. And I, prior to that, was unable to achieve sustained recovery. But I did stay in the house for 18 months, and I've, been in recovery now for 21 plus years.
Yeah, I know, Kathleen, you and I have talked numerous times about our personal lived experience, or our own understanding and recognition of what we've been through is a testimony to these different type of science-based resources, that they really do work if you give it your all long term. It's not just 1-2 years going back, but you really find happiness and joy after engaging in such services as Oxford House. So testimony to Oxford House for giving you all the support and the guidance that you need to experience 21 years of continued recovery.
Thank you. Absolutely. I know that, without being in that house, that I'm not sure where I would be, but I do, realize that without Oxford, I probably would not be here.
Yeah.
I'm grateful for Mr. Malloy, who started Oxford House back in 1975.
Shout out to Mr. Malloy if you ever hear this.
Well, sadly, Mr. Malloy passed away last month. And, he was, just this whole model was started by him and a few other guys who left to rehab in Washington, and went to a halfway house, and the halfway house was no longer being funded, so they were asked to leave. So what they did, he was an attorney and did a lot of work on the Capitol. And so what they did was they rented the house themselves, and they developed policy and procedure around who could live there. And, it still stands today with over 3,000 houses across the country and in other countries. This model is still with us. So thank you to all the Paul Malloy and all those founders of this incredible model that have saved countless lives. Currently, there's 25,000 people living in an Oxford House across the country.
Yeah, talk about making sure that that you leave a stamp on your dash, right? When our time comes, leaving an impression on the recovery community, and creating such a sustainable, long-lasting program such as Oxford House is a testimony to his passion and their vision to create a housing network to help people across the nation. And you just mentioned how many residents you have across all your houses. Are there any particular houses that are set up for special populations?
There are. So there are Oxford houses that are currently, for men and women. There are no men and women houses for reasons.
Yeah.
There are women and children's houses, which is really certainly a need. Oftentimes, families are broken up, and kids are expected to live somewhere else, and sometimes that's not an option, and a woman or a man would go back home to an environment that does not support recovery, to take care of the children, just to find that cycle over and over again. So Oxford does have women and children's houses. There are houses that are specific for LGBTQ population, veterans. Yeah.
And is it true, Kathleen, that the stat that I found is that at any given time, there could be 2,000 Oxford residents that have served in the military, and over the course of 1 year, 4,000 have lived in an Oxford house?
Yes, that is true.
That's incredible.
Amazing. Yeah. The other thing to know is that this is, when we talk about pathways of recovery, stages of recovery, this can be, a phase, right? So if somebody, starts in treatment and then may go to a halfway house, and then this is level 1, peer run, it's not for everyone. It can work for anyone, but, this can be an option for a lot of people who are transitioning.
So it just sounds, I don't want it doesn't sound too good to be true because I get it, right? It's not it's existed for however many years, but I want one in every community such as you do. Like I want to be able to know that there's 5 houses in Orange County, 5 in Rockland, 5 in Sullivan, so serving all these different populations, a house for every population that's identified. So what do we need to expand the number of houses in our region?
So funding.
Yeah.
Currently, there is no New York contract.
Okay.
A lot of these states have either county contract or state contracts, or work with drug courts, which is another specialized, population. And we need to get a contract, and what the contract would do is the contract would allow Oxford Inc. to hire an outreach worker in a specific area to start the houses, support the houses, teach the houses, how it's run, and build the model. And I'm currently, working with the New Jersey team. In New Jersey, there's over 200 houses. They do have a contract. They have a drug court contract. So they're helping here start in the Mid-Hudson region. There's a small amount of funding for me to begin the process, and which has been just a goal of mine. One of my goals was to open a recovery center, and the others is to get Oxford here. So that's what we're looking to do is partner, and how this really works. And you mentioned it's too good to be true, but what's really makes Oxford houses successful is when there is more than one house in a specific area, 6 or more, so that they can develop a chapter. That really, the chapter meets monthly. Chapters help out each other. They fundraise together. If somebody is not doing well in one house, maybe another house would be a better fit for them. So having multiple houses in the same area is really, the goal, and how it works.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Yeah, so we would need a small startup, revolving loan fund.
Yeah.
And
So if someone's listening to this podcast, Kathleen, how do they get in contact with Oxford House Inc. for more information?
Okay, so currently they would contact Oxford House Murray Hill. So the house that's available in this area is a house in Chester. It's an 8 male residence, and they currently have two openings. So Oxford Inc., the main office, is located in Maryland. Each house is individual under that umbrella, if I'm clear on that.
Yeah.
So the house is a beautiful house in Chester. It's very close to shopping and employment opportunities and outpatient programs, inpatient program. The recovery community is strong over there as well. That's what we look for when we're looking for homes. It's in a beautiful neighborhood. It's big, and how it works is you would call the house and say that you want to set up an interview. There's an interview process. There's a series of about 26 questions that an individual is asked. Every member of the house then takes a vote, and 80% of the vote will get you in.
That's awesome. So we will make sure that we put that contact information on the link for this podcast, so everyone has access to that. And if not, of course, you could all follow us on Facebook, and make sure that you like, share, tag, and follow Stigma Busters podcast for this information and upcoming information, as I know Kathleen and I are excited to partner and to expand not just the one house in Chester to make sure all those beds are full and as long as possible, but as well as adding additional houses to our region, not just Orange County. So please like, tag, share, and follow Stigma Busters. And Kathleen Katt, thank you so much for representing Oxford House and sharing the wonderful services and the being a recovery warrior with us and making a change in our community. So I want to thank you for all that you're doing.
Oh, thank you too. Thank you too, Scott. I really appreciate it. It seems to be the missing piece. We have lots of peer services, peers looking to help others, and the supportive housing is lacking. So any help that we could get in making this happen is welcome. So thank you again for having me today. And look forward to hearing more on Stigma Busters.
Yeah, and everyone that's listening, thank you for attending this podcast. Our next podcast will be next month. What is peer support? And again, my name's Scott. Thank you for allowing me to be authentic with you, to share this space with you. And of course, as always, I love myself ferociously on purpose today. And I am grateful and honored to be able to host and share this space with you. And until next time, everybody, have a wonderful day. God bless.
Thank you.